It's time to talk sports, it's time for the show. When you hear this song on the radio, it's time to tune in, better act fast. Let me get that potograph. Potograph, sports talk radio. Starting now.
Let's go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 174 of Let Me Get That Autograph. We are back, and as always, my name is Drew, or the DH, and joining me, my awesome co-host, which it's been over a year now.
It has been.
Scott Rappaport. What's up, brother?
Dude, this year has gone by really, really fast.
When I saw that in my Facebook moments, because that's how I actually realized that, I had no clue on the date, to tell you the truth. But a Facebook memory came up, and I was like, "Holy shit, a year!"
I know it's been a little crazy.
It's been a great year, though.
A lot's going on this year. You know, I've had a lot of time over the weekend to reflect on that as I've been laid up with an ankle injury from playing soccer, which is something that I never ever thought would come out of my mouth if you'd asked me about that like 3 or 4 years ago.
Of course.
But it's been a lot going on over the last year. It's gone by very quickly. You know, we've had a lot of exciting things to talk about. So I highly recommend if you're new, go back and listen, to the last year's worth of shows that we've done. We've had some really good content, really good topics, and
a lot more to come.
And there's a lot more to come, and I'm just excited to see what this year is going to bring.
Yes, year 2 is going to be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, well, year 2 for me, it's year
year 2
eight for you,
like,
something like that.
Yeah, it's like 800 for us.
Yeah. So we were off last week after the awards show, and thank you for listening to that. For those of you that did, we had a good time. It was a lot of fun putting that list together, and really excited for next year's award show to see what happens within the industry in 2023. But you were at a show this past weekend.
Yes, yeah.
Any good pickups?
Yeah, I actually bought an entire guy's table out.
Really?
Well, I walked up to him, and I mean, he looked just stressed. He looked like he was not having a good time. And then it's a card show, and it was relatively early. It was like 3 hours into a 2-day show. I don't know what this guy was expecting, but he just looked worn down. I was like, "Hey, you hanging in there, man?" He's like, I'm just looking to make some sales and get out of here. Looked at his table, and he had what stopped me, but he had a combination of what I was looking for. And I looked at his table, and I was like, well, how much for the table? We made a deal on that, undisclosed. I'm not going to say, since I haven't shown what I bought. You can see that on social media, but bought the table out. So some really nice pickups, some Jalen Hurts, some Burrows, some, which we'll touch on later, them and a lot of other people. A couple other things really nice DK Metcalf, Spectra RPA, the marble out of 5. So that's
now, were you just walking the show, or were you set up at a different table?
No, I was strictly walking. I went there for a specific reason, and that was to look for some, lower end slabs, lower to mid end slabs, nothing huge. If something caught my eye, then yes, which I ended up making a huge deal with the show promoters on a couple of my Kobe's and some cash for a really big card that I'll be debuting on social media here this week, but made a real big move that I didn't plan on making. But no, just walking the floor, doing some content, meeting some kids. Loved seeing the amount of kids that were there. It was insane. This was the first show by this promotion, and they do a great job. It's a traveling North Carolina show, so they're going to be doing it all throughout the year in all different cities. Shout out to all my North Carolina and surrounding area listeners. It's a really great show, but they had a trade area set up in the middle, and it was packed with kids and adults all day long, but tons of kids just sitting there trading. Nice. And not just with kids, but trading with adults. I mean, the amount of kid hustlers I saw there that were 8 to 12 years old was just awesome.
It always boggles my mind when I'm set up at shows, you get like these 14, 15-year-old kids that have better cards than I do, and it's like,
oh, big time.
Yeah, and it's been like that for a couple of years now.
Yes,
but I'm excited. I had one pick. I only made one pickup this week.
What'd you grab?
It was a total eBay purchase. I love the really cheap color autos from Bowman Chrome that you can pick up. So I picked up a 2015 Bowman Chrome Gold Refractor Auto of Tyler Wagner.
Oh, nice.
Who was with the Brewers at the time.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but I saw it and it was like $3.
Nice.
So I just like, yeah, you know what? It goes,
dude, a gold auto for $3. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on.
It goes along with my Paco Rodriguez collection that I've been trying to complete the rainbow on. I need the red and I need the Superfractor, and I know they're out there, but he is like dirt cheap as well. So I was excited. Yeah, I was excited about that. It's like, okay, cool. Gold refractor auto for $3, and that's Tyler Wagner, which okay, great. You know,
yeah,
hey,
sure,
he made it. So
yeah, I know. I believe with D-backs as well, I believe. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so was excited about that. Hopefully it gets here soon. So we'll
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So both of us had a couple nice pickups. Well,
I think yours overshadows mine by quite a bit.
Yeah, especially when you see what I ended up picking up, which we'll debut here later on. It's a big one. But we're gonna move on now, guys, because if you listened to last week's show, and if you haven't, I highly recommend checking it out. But we had our first annual, let me get that potograph, Hobby Awards, and we spoke on Bowman Chrome and about how it was the first perfect product Topps put out all year. Well, it appears that somebody was looking up or down or whatever at us, and the day after we released that episode, information comes out that there's a screw up in that product too, along with serial numbering, which we'll touch on in just a second. But that leads us into our first topic today, Topps screw ups, because this is yet another Topps screw up and I mean, we've since I even found this out, I've seen 3 or 4 more big ones that we'll touch on. But Bowman Chrome with a ridiculously dumb serial numbering error.
You know, now here's the thing. Like I've been pushing this idea for years that if you have a, you know, like let's say it's a gold refractor, you know, they're numbered to 50. In this case, it wasn't, but you know, and you've got a player like Aaron Judge whose jersey number is 99. You know, I always said that they should make one additional card of that and number it like 99 of 50, you know, just so there's like a jersey number card. In this case, it was I think it was a green wave refractor. Number to 75. I think it was out of Topps. I think it was out of Chrome Update. And for some unknown reason, they marked it with serial number 76 of 75. Now, before I get on to them about like why they did that, I'm wondering if it's possible that one of the other numbers got damaged or destroyed, and instead of replacing it with that exact same serial number, you know, they replaced it with 76, which I think would actually be a really cool thing to do if you're talking about a damage replacement.
Right. Yeah.
That would be a cool.
You would have to have that. You would have to make that standard, and you would have to differentiate it in some way from the standard serial number, because then there'd be no way of knowing if they were printing a ton more. There'd be a million conspiracy theorists saying they were printing billions of them, blah, blah, blah. What I think happened on that end, because it's the same thing that with what happened in Bowman, which should tell you guys a little backstory if you haven't heard. Bowman serial numbering, it didn't affect the entire run, but 20 prospects and the blue, aqua, purple, and one other color, I believe, all the serial numbers have the exact same serial number. So if it's 276 out of 499, all 499 have 276 for those prospects, which is just absurd. Now, they said that it was and this is where I go to, and I think I know what happened with the 76. Their response with this was that it was an issue with the technology and the computer process of the serial numbering of the cards that made this happen. So I guess maybe someone entered in, you probably enter in, you know, what it's out of, and then it goes through. They probably entered in the wrong number, did something, or put some number in the wrong slot, blah, blah, blah. I think what happened on the 76 out of 75 aspect is the computer probably skipped over a number or was told to start at 2 instead of 1, something along those lines. And it may have started at 1, but it went to 76. It went 1 over.
But there should be and I think we have to look. I mean, there's still a lot of that product that is
we've
sitting
got
unopened.
Yeah,
we don't know. So if one of 75 does happen to pop up, that eliminates that theory.
Yeah, completely.
You would think that there would be some sort of algorithm, built into this where it doesn't allow you to go over the number regardless of where it starts.
Yes, you really would think.
Yeah. You select in the program, it's the green wave refractor to 75, and it knows to print all this, the 75 serial numbers,
right,
in order on it. We have no idea. But
okay, so look, we've got those right there. We've got those, but I know some people are probably saying, okay, well, whatever, it's just a couple serial numbers on 20 prospects. No, that's not the. There's a bigger issue at hand here, and that is all of these screw ups. I mean, look at what we've had in literally 2023. I'm talking 2023 and maybe the tail end, like from Christmas on. You've had both of these issues that we just talked about. You have the Brandon Marsh Aura at a Topps Finest Superfractor that are on card autographs that's missing an autograph that you put into a product.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Now, I do want to point out, though, that all of these products, even though we're into 2023, all of these products were produced and packed out in 2022.
Of course they are. I'm just saying, look at all of the mistakes in this short period of time.
Correct.
And let's not even go back to the fact that they've had to do millions of promotions to make up for major screw ups. They've had to do promotions for making the MSRP way too high and jacking up the print runs too high. The F1 Sapphires, the 101 Pad Parisias that were all backdoored, all the unnumbered ones that were backdoored out of the Italian plant and that are now on the market. Those are not fakes. I've spoken to Topps. Those are not fakes. They came from Topps. They were test cards. Somehow they made it out of the factory. Then you have 101's missing autos. You've got all these serial numbered issues. You've got all this stuff on the back end. This is not one or two little things. People love to jump on Panini and all this type of stuff and like all the time. And yes, Panini makes a ton of mistakes as well. Almost every card company does. But this is getting to the point where, dude, I mean, we just said it. Bowman Chrome was the first perfect product in who knows how long. And now that's out the window. Finest is out the window. I mean,
I'm trying to think where the blame lies because –
right.
Initially you say, all right, well, Fanatics took over and you've got all these issues that pop up. But then you look at it and realize that, okay, well, Fanatics kept most of the Topps people to run Topps, and the majority of them stayed.
The printing companies remain the same. Like the only real change was adding an Italian plant.
Well, but that doesn't affect baseball.
That's my point. No, I know. Yeah.
And that's a different story because there's been issues with Formula One and soccer cards since they added those. So the question is like I don't know. I don't think you can blame this on Fanatics.
No, you absolutely, and that's not my like what I'm trying to do whatsoever. This is not me trying to attack Topps. It's just that ultimately their name is on the box that's being opened. And so that's where the screw ups are going to lie. But I do think that, I mean, it's the printing companies. And the one thing that I hope, and with this quote unquote Fanatics takeover that everyone likes to say, the one thing that I hope happens is that they actually start to do the production of their own cards. I think if they did, I think the quality control would go up. Now, Topps, it looked like, was kind of going in that direction somewhat by adding overseas plants, by adding Topps-specific plants. Topps now is printed at a different area than, everything else, too. If you look at the quality control on Topps now, it's excellent. So I think if you get away, they've got to get away from Cartamundi and GCI. GCI barely does anything anymore anyways, but Cartamundi in particular is just doing too much because they do so much more than just cards. They do everything. And I think that they just see cards as such a minor aspect of their entire operation that they're not going to put a massive quality control team on it. They're not going to make this amazing, dedication.
No, they're not going to, but it would be significantly cheaper for Topps instead of bringing in all, doing all the printing in house. It would be a lot cheaper for them to hire a couple of people and plop them down in Cardamooni's plant as quality control, quality control people.
Yeah, no, that needs to happen. The entire quality control system in the hobby needs to be revamped. Because the quality control right now is being done by Cardamundi, and it needs to be done by the card companies. And I think that's where the main issue is in all of this.
And I'm curious, do you know where Leaf does their printing?
I believe that this is not a fact, Brian. I know you're probably listening, especially this week. Check, or
maybe not listening.
Yeah, or maybe not listening this week. Either one, but I'll tag you anyway, bud. But I believe Leaf gets their cards printed by the same companies.
Okay.
I believe that because they're right down there. I believe they use Cardamundi and GCI. They may do some in-house printing for certain products and their on-demand stuff, especially like the on-demand. I think that because it's like even Panini uses a different printer for their on-demand.
Right.
So
because the turnaround time on on-demand has to be so much faster than what you get, and that's the reason they do that. But the reason I bring it up is, and I if there was a company out there that would do their own printing, I mean, Leaf would be it, just because they are such smaller quantity than than Topps and Panini, and Upper Deck. But their quality control is
phenomenal,
is spot on.
Yes.
So how and maybe it's strictly quantity. Maybe it is that
I believe it
that Brian's got somebody in the factory
and a little more simplistic designs. Leaf does go for more simplistic designs for the most part.
Well, but I mean, if you look at their metal cards and things like that, I mean, they're on par with a lot of the stuff that you see from.
Oh, I'm not. I love the designs. Yeah. I'm just saying it's a little easier. Like I love full border cards, but when you get into full border cards, no printing company in the world for some reason can cut a straight line on a full border card these days. So I mean, I've yet to see one in the last 10 years.
And the reality is that no border cards, they're not straight either. You just can't tell as easily as you can on a full border card.
Absolutely, but I don't know. Lots and lots of mess ups there, and hopefully it gets a little bit better. I mean, I did a funny thing about this that I haven't told you, but myself and a couple other people from Hobby Hotline got a call from Fanatics in the last week wanting to sponsor the show.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, but we politely turned them down because there's a big group of us and we all have our different shows, different sponsors, etc. And we don't want any conflict of interest for anybody. There's a lot of pretty big names as part of the Hobby Hotline crew. And when I had my conversation, I said to I told him, I was like, there's going to be quite a lot of criticism on Topps products. If so, I mean, he was fine with that and understood it, but it was definitely something that they're aware of. So hopefully they do something to change it. But I think you nailed it earlier. The quality control needs to be completely revamped. There needs to be, and I say a lot more than a couple, there needs to be a team. There needs to be a team of people looking this stuff over.
And I will say, if Fanatics wants to come here as a sponsor or with let it rip, and hey, look, as long as they're open, we're not sitting here trashing the company.
Not
what we're
at
doing
all.
This is constructive criticism.
Before Fanatics took over, Topps was a sponsor of Let It Rip, but
right.
then the former owners didn't like that I would point out the flaws, and so.
But that's the thing. The reason that they're pointing out is, look, the rest of the hobby. In every chat room, in every group, in every group and all that kind of stuff, they're ripping on the products too because of certain issues. We're not sitting here making fun of them
for
it. And I don't think any of the guys in the groups are either. We're trying to point this out to improve their processes.
Exactly.
And look, I'd be more than happy to have them on here as a sponsor. So as long as there are no stipulations about any, criticism when it is due.
Right. Yeah, 100%. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully the QC, gets a little bit better. We're going to move on now, man, because there's, we love our scandals and we love our lawsuits, my man.
I know.
It's back. Cue the Law and Order music. Yeah, it is lawsuit time. Wouldn't be that time. We're starting out January 2023 with a strong one here. A LeBron James rookie and the $6 million lawsuit. This one crazy.
I see. This is where things get complicated.
Very.
Because for those of you that don't know, there's a LeBron James exquisite rookie out there that is in I believe it's a BGS 9 slab.
Yeah, it's out of 99, so it's the true RPA out of 99.
There have been accusations that this card has had the patch replaced.
Yes, Wax Museum, a really good friend of mine, is the one who keeps track of all of these high-end RPAs. He has a database online. Definitely check it out and check out his show, Wax Museum, again. But yes, there's evidence that the patch has been swapped out.
Right, and every time this card pops up on the market, and the most recent time that it popped up on the market was Golden had it up for auction. Of course, Golden had it up for auction. It was pointed out again. I believe it was CardPorn.
Yes,
CardPorn decided to do that, and Golden rightfully took it down. And I only say rightfully because I'm not in a position to question the authenticity of the patch. I don't know if it's been swapped out. I don't know if it's real. I don't know enough about.
But when you have a question, you got to pull it.
But exactly, and that's the thing. When there is a question around it, the proper thing to do is to pull it until everything is completely resolved.
And for sure. Yeah.
And for sure. And if it turns out that it has not been swapped, hey, great, run it again. If it turns out that it has been swapped, then don't run it again. Now, since then, the owner of the card has decided to take it out in public.
Yes.
I believe there was a picture of Snoop Dogg holding it at a Lakers game.
There was.
Which was kind of interesting. And I did appreciate the fact that, he didn't let Snoop hold it by himself. There was still another hand.
I know. No.
Look, I would trust him.
I would. Dude, if it's me or
Snoop.
It's Snoop. Now, 20 years ago, Snoop, I wouldn't, but today,
I still would, and I love those pictures of Snoop and Martha Stewart, and there's that meme that says that, hey, one of these two is a convicted felon,
right?
And it's not Snoop.
Exactly.
So I mean, look, if you're standing right there, they're in the middle of a stadium, whatever, hand it to them, let them take a picture, then take it back. It's you're getting the card back. It's not a big deal. They're parading it around, sitting pretty much courtside at those games, and I don't know if that was the right thing to do because it's like, all right, they're kind of rubbing it in, and if it does turn out to be fake,
a
lot more crap on that. But they decided to sue CardPorn for defamation, because they're trying to say that look, it's legit.
Well, and in addition to defamation, they're saying they suffered a loss of reputation, shame, mortification, and I love this one, an injury to their respective feelings.
This has to be filed in California because I think that's the only state that allows that.
The value of the LeBron patch card. They're seeking damage of at least $6 million. Now I wonder what the value is on the injury to their feelings.
Yeah, that one is, and like I said, I think that's got to be a California thing because that's
fucking America.
Yeah, that would, even in Illinois that wouldn't fly.
Oh my god.
It's one of those things, like, I just don't know where this is going to go. Now, according to the latest article, they have had a very hard time serving this lawsuit to the people behind CardPorn.
This is the best part.
It's not exactly a secret as to who's behind
CardPorn. It's under a little bit of a debate depending on who you ask, because there's a lot of people that will tell you, if you look at the history of CardPorn's posts, there's a certain time when they changed and significantly in tone, and there's a lot of people who believe that it was bought out or purchased, and there's multiple people running it now, and maybe one person that has controlling interest that wasn't the owner before. I personally still think it's the exact same person, but the funny thing is they can't serve it because they don't know who it is.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like you're trying to serve a lawsuit, and frankly, I'm kind of shocked that they haven't sent a subpoena to Meta, who owns Instagram.
Well, what I was gonna say is
to find out who it is.
Like looking at IPs and everything, I mean, they can find out where CardPorn's posts are coming from if they really wanted to.
I don't think they can. I don't think you can look up an IP on a random Instagram post and find out where it's coming from. Without Meta can do it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They can find out.
Yeah. Now, if it is the person that we think it is, they are dual based. They are splitting time between the United States and another country.
Mm-hmm.
And it is possible that they haven't been able to serve him because he's located.
They're in the other country.
He's currently in the other country.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a representative of some sort.
Right.
Behind it. Because I've got a feeling that it's not he's got it registered as a corporation of some sort.
Yes.
Especially when you're doing what they're doing and things like that, and there's the potential for lawsuits and stuff like that. So you would think that they would be smart enough to register it as a corporation, but we don't know.
Well, this is going to be really interesting because it comes into question. These social media accounts. There's way more than CardPorn that are doing things like this in the hobby, and like this card, even if it's proven that it's real, which I don't think you can look at the evidence and say that it hasn't been altered. It has been altered, and that's why every single time it goes up for sale, they still own it. But let's just say for some sake that it's deemed authentic or whatever. I still don't think you can do anything on this, but it does bring up some interesting questions in terms of what if you want to call them influencers or large accounts or social media presences in the hobby, and how they go at people.
Yeah, and I think at one point in time, well, I think at one point in time there was a letter from Upper Deck that did deem it authentic. If this is the same one that I'm thinking of, but I think that letter may have been withdrawn.
I'm pretty sure if it was withdrawn, because I remember when this was called out. That's why, because I follow the tracker heavily. I remember when it was added to Wax Museum's tracker because it was a big deal. This is one of the more well-known ones ever. And so, this isn't something that's popped up in the last 6 months. And that's why I also kind of have a problem with them going after CardPorn in particular, because they're far from the only person and only company and only group of people that have gone on a crusade to show people that this is bullshit and that this is fake. There's tons of people.
This card
going after CardPorn for clout, and because they think they can get that much more money from CardPorn that they can't get from other people.
But in this particular card has been called out on blowout forums
everywhere.
Everywhere that there's so why not go after blowout? They run the forums and things like that. It's the same
people. You could go after freaking lots of different stuff. There's tons of people you could go after for this card, but you choose to go after CardPorn because you think that you can get the most money out of them, and that because there's been CardPorn stuff didn't get the reach that a lot of other stuff did in the past. This card's been attacked by countless people for the right reasons a million times, and that's where I have a big problem with the lawsuit. I think it's fucking ridiculous, but they're 100% singling CardPorn out because they think that's the only people they can sue for $6 million and maybe get something back for their injured feelings.
Now, here's the thing, though: the injured feelings. I think that one gets tossed.
Shit, you think?
And that immediately gets tossed when you see the pictures that they posted
with
after the lawsuit was filed. of, them smiling and having a good time, waving it up in the air at a basketball game and, things like that.
My feelings were hurt so bad I had to go hang out with Snoop and go courtside at some basketball games and parade it around everywhere.
Exactly. Oh. And that's one of those things. Yeah, that's not a feelings or hurt, type reaction.
Sponsors a lot of podcasts, so maybe they listen to BetterHelp. There you go, BetterHelp. Come sponsor the show now.
Yeah. So I'm curious to follow this one. I really want to see, kind of how this plays out.
Oh yeah, we will definitely be following this as it goes along, because this is very interesting, especially from a content creator aspect, yeah, something that I'm quite interested in. But maybe they need that $6 million, Scott, to pay bills. And speaking of bills, we got bills to pay. So we'll be right back. All right, those bills are paid. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 174 of Let Me Get That Potograph. And Scott, we're going to go on now to Movers and Shakers, the segment that is taking the nation by storm. But we've got a little special edition this week, because normally, normally you and I would go back with, each have a person or two that's moving up the ladder and everything. But we both agreed this week there's really only one guy. Now, we do have some honorable mentions at the end that we'll get to, but
why don't we start with the honorable mentions, and we'll build up suspense.
All right, we'll start with the honorable mentions.
So honorable mention number 1 is welcome back, Jonathan Isaac.
There you go.
Orlando Magic player, has not played a game since 2020. He finally came back yesterday, and they only had him in for 10 minutes, which is fine. They're building him back up again, but he put up 10 points in 10 minutes. Yep. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him, and I'm excited to see him back on the court.
Absolutely. And sticking on the basketball court, you guys need to be paying attention to this year's draft class. You can continue not to. I'm getting some stuff for incredibly cheap. Thank you. But my honorable mention is none other than Walker Kessler. Oh my God, this dude is a beast. Just put up a 2010 the other night. He's coming into his own. This kid can play ball. He can block. He can rebound. He can shoot. He can shoot from the outside. He's fast. He can play in transition. He is a perfect fit. Walker Kessler, absolutely incredible. If you're not taking a look at him
fast.
But this week's Movers and Shakers, Scott, has to be about only one man. And that man
is one guy.
Rui Hachimura.
I was kind of shocked when I saw this trade.
Yeah.
I understand why the Wizards got moved him, but it's one of those things like I don't know. And then to find out, all right, he's going to the Lakers.
Yes.
And that's the big thing right there. The fan base that the Lakers have.
Well, the fan base that the Lakers have, coupled with the fact that he's considered a god in his home country, and the Lakers are considered a god of a team in that country. You add that together, this kid doesn't have to put up 25 or 30 points a game. This kid can be a serviceable, good person in the hot for his team and for the Lakers, and he is going to get significant bump off of this. Massive hobby wise.
Now, I don't think he gets a Shohei Ohtani type of bump.
No.
But he is viewed in Japan for basketball, the very same way that Shohei Ohtani is viewed for baseball.
Yes.
I'm seeing a massive increase for him.
And I also think it's a good fit for him team-wise, because the Lakers, the one thing that he struggled with is fitting into that normal 1 through 5 rotation, normal general 1 to 5 rotation that the Wizards play. The Lakers, they play 0 through 0. They don't have positions. They play whoever fits around LeBron that's healthy. And when Anthony Davis is in, whoever fits around LeBron and AD that are healthy. But they don't play position basketball. And I think that's going to help him. I don't know if he's necessarily the shooter that they really need, but he can develop into it. I guarantee you the development he's going to get and the the mentorship he's going to get in LA is going to be 1,000 times better than it is in Washington.
But he's not a horrible shooter.
No, he's not. But I'm saying he's got the potential to be elite. Rui Hachimura has, I'm telling you, he has not hit his potential. You know my rule, 3-year rule. Rui's not there yet. He was hurt his rookie year. He's struggled a little bit this year, but give this kid a couple years to develop. He's got the potential. You put him in LA around LeBron, AD, people like that he can learn from, and an organization that's shown that they can get the best out of a lot of players. This could be a big trade for LA, and they only sent none in 3 seconds.
But they aren't even seconds for the next, couple years. And let's be honest, second round draft picks rarely.
Well, no, those 3 seconds get packaged either for a first or another player and trade. It's really
right, but you're talking about one of the seconds is a 2029 second round draft pick. One of them, I believe, is a 2028.
2028, yeah.
And then there's I think the other one was a 2026, but it's a potential swap.
Right.
So we're not talking about like, hey, next year's draft class, or the year after,
no,
or the year after that, or the year after that.
Bronny Jr. era type.
No, Bronny Jr. will be in the league before the first draft. Yeah, that's before true. The first of those draft pick trades, come into play. So we're talking about guys that are in like 5th grade, right now, or maybe 4th grade if they, you know where I'm going with that. Yeah. So it's not like those draft picks are going to have any impact. So it was it was basically player
none for Hachimura.
Yeah, exactly. And I think none will play very well with Kuzma.
Oh yes, very well.
I think those two will gel very quickly together. But I'm really excited to see what Hachimura is going to do in LA.
No, so am I. I think this is the best possible place to get the most out of him. I think all signs are pointing toward him being someone that is going to be, in my opinion, if they're going to go on any type of run, if they're going to be any team to contend with, he's going to be a big reason why. This is a trade that could shift the Lakers towards playing some amazing basketball if he can live up to the potential. I think going to LA and playing around all of those elite players, playing in that atmosphere, he's the type of person that can handle it, as he's been kind of like Luka. He dealt with the media overseas, loving him forever. Yep. So he's used to that. He's used to the bright lights. He's fit for LA. People might not know that because he's a quiet kid, but he's had all of that stuff. He's been through all of that.
I think that's what LA needs is the quiet kid, because they've got the loud and obnoxious players already.
Oh yeah, they got plenty of those.
I mean, hell, LeBron's loud and obnoxious enough for the entire league. But I think they need that kid who's just gonna be quiet,
silent assassin.
He's gonna but he's also there's no controversy around him.
No,
he doesn't spout off his mouth about anything.
Yeah,
he's gonna be one of those guys that's just gonna shut up and play ball. But not because somebody's telling him to shut up and play ball. But that's just how he is.
Yeah, he's dialed in. He's a dialed in, quiet kid, which that comes also from his overseas upbringing, obviously. But being used to the bright lights already, I don't see any learning curve for him. I think he fits right in. And I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's Rui, blah blah blah. He's been awful this year." Blah, blah, blah. Just wait.
But look at who he's been playing.
I'm not saying game 1 or 2 he's going to put up 50. I'm just saying just wait.
But look at who he's been playing around his career.
I know.
Look at the other players on the team that in Washington that he's been playing with. He's of course you're not going to put up great numbers. You're not going to look great when you don't have any surrounding players that are going to help you become great.
Exactly. 100%. So once again, Rui Hachimura headed to the Lakers for Kendrick Nunn and a bunch of seconds about 50 years from now. So we'll see what happens there. But Rui is definitely the mover and shaker this week. But as always, keep your eye out for Walker Kessler and Jonathan Isaac. But Scott, we'll move on now to our last topic of the day. And I mean, we can't not have an episode without touching on the NFL playoffs, bro. I mean, we're getting down to the end of the NFL season. We've got our final four, so to speak. We got Philly, we got San Francisco, we've got Cincinnati, and we've got Kansas City.
And frankly, I am not surprised to see any of these teams in the respective conference championship games.
No.
There is no surprise whatsoever with any of those teams. And frankly, even if Buffalo had beaten Cincinnati, that would not have been unexpected either. You know, Kansas City and either Cincinnati or Buffalo were expected to be in that game, and the Eagles and San Francisco were expected to be in that game before the season started.
Yeah.
Now, there is one, just one, completely like that. If at the beginning of the season, or frankly, even like 5-6 games into the season, if you had said this was going to happen, people would have thought you were on. Yeah, people would have thought you were on crack.
Yeah.
And look, it's obvious. It's Brock Purdy. And I will say, look, as an Iowa State alum, I am absolutely ecstatic about it.
Of course.
I have watched him play, you know, when he was there. I'm not a huge college football guy, but I do catch the Iowa State games when I can. Oh, cool. You know, and I've seen him play over the last 4 years, and look, the kid's got talent.
Oh yeah.
And frankly, I'm shocked that he went that late in the draft.
Me too.
I don't think I really would love to see San Francisco go on and win a Super Bowl. Not just because of the whole Brock Purdy story, but I love Robbie Gould. I mean, dude lives a mile away from me.
Yeah.
You know, see him around. He's like super down to earth, like just a great guy. I want to see him get that ring. Now, I also want to see what happens, because I believe that the lowest drafted quarterback to win a Super Bowl is Tom Brady.
Yes.
Who was drafted 199th.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite the last draft pick, but far enough back where nobody really expected that to happen. And frankly, nobody expected Brock Purdy to even get playing time this year, because you started the season with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Like, it is a complete freak thing. Don't know how that, I mean, I know how it happened. It happened because of injury, but yeah, it's insane.
No, I agree. And, you know, from a hobby standpoint, obviously people are all these quarterbacks, you know, Hurts, you got Purdy, you got Burrow and Mahomes. All these quarterbacks in the hobby are huge. But right now, Brock Purdy, just in the last week, Brock Purdy's ungraded Mosaic base auto sold for $712. A Joe Burrow PSA 9 rookie Phoenix auto sold for $650. A Jalen Hurts blue optic on card rated rookie sold for $700 out of $35.
His raw Mosaic Genesis are for over $1,000.
I know but he's beating out Pat Mahomes select field levels, which that year was when field levels were actually graded, that were actually very, very rare. His cards are going through the roof right now, and one thing that I find hilarious is the million people online saying that after he loses or when he loses, blah, 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 all his cards are going to plummet. Guys, no, they're not. They're going to settle back into something like in a general area, like every card does.
Yeah. Now,
it happens all the time. You'll be bitching about someone new in 6 weeks, and the same freaking thing will happen.
There will be a drop, though.
Comes out of nowhere and does something amazing, their cards are going to go up. The shit drives me crazy.
There will be a drop.
Yes.
But there's always a drop once the season's over.
Right.
Every sport, it doesn't make a difference. There's going to be an off-season drop.
And he's going to have preseason hype because he's shown, you can't watch these games and tell me he hasn't shown you enough to say that he belongs in this league.
No, he absolutely belongs in his league. But the biggest concern is what happens after this season. Garoppolo is probably not going to be back with San Francisco. So the question is, you have Trey Lance as your starter. and pretty sure San Francisco's committed to, Trey Lance as the starter.
They are, but I think Brock Purdy can easily beat Trey Lance out in training camp.
Well, but if he doesn't, and he ends up as the backup, does San Francisco hold him with the concern that Trey Lance might get hurt again? Or does San Francisco trade him?
Yeah.
Or do they not even wait? Do they trade him to try to move up in the draft?
Yeah.
To a team that needs a quarterback. And the nice thing about trading for Purdy versus drafting a quarterback out of straight out of college is Purdy's got 7 games of regular season experience plus the 2 playoff games.
Work in the film room, a year of practice against the number 1 defense. Lots of benefits.
Yeah. You have film of him playing against NFL teams.
Yes.
It's a lot easier to evaluate that than it is to evaluate a quarterback that's coming out of college.
100%.
So does San Francisco make that trade?
Quite possible.
I have no idea what they would wind up doing. Don't get me wrong, it's a good problem for them to have. But does a team like, let's say, Oakland, try to make a trade? They need a quarterback. They have the 4th draft pick, and then it would be really interesting to see a team, trade a first rounder, especially considering he was literally drafted last. That's never been done before either.
No, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I love this Final Four. I think it's going to be great. I, of course, am cheering on CMC. And then I've got my about to be brother-in-law, big Cincinnati fan. So, we're cheering for the Bengals too. So I'm hoping for Bengals and 49ers. I think that would be the most fun. But out of all these guys and looking at the Final Four, the quarterbacks that I've taken away the most fun from, forget Brock Purdy. I look at Jalen Hurts and I look at Joe Burrow, and I look at this as the year that these 2 quarterbacks, especially Hurts, because Burrow kind of already showed it to you a little bit. He's just proving it wasn't a fluke.
Right.
But they're showing you that they've really got that dog in them, so to speak. They've got that swagger. I mean, Joe Burrow's swagger is unmatched. We know that. But what Jalen Hurts is doing with an incredible Philadelphia team around him is quite impressive as well. So, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better Final Four. I think we're going to have some amazing matchups, but from a hobby aspect, I mean, look at what's here. We had so many, Tom Brady, all these amazing quarterbacks. 3 years ago, it was Brady. 5 years ago, Brady, Peyton, Big Ben, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers. Now it's all, the youth movement is here, and it's a lot of fun.
And I do love
the hobby.
I do love Burrow's comment after they beat Buffalo about issuing the refunds for the neutral site game tickets. Yes. That was that
was about the most insulting thing you could do. I understand you got to do it, but of course that's going to insult.
No, exactly. But here's the thing. I think Kansas City is much happier playing Cincinnati because they're playing them at home.
Yes, 100%.
As far as let me rephrase that. Not necessarily the players are happy, but the organization is happy because they're getting that. They are getting the home revenue. Field, the revenue, and that's the big thing. I'm thinking it's going to wind up being Cincinnati and San Francisco, though.
Well, it easily could be. So that's your Super Bowl picks. Who now?
My Cincinnati and San Francisco.
Yep, that's mine.
And my, I want to say San Francisco to win it.
Me too, but
I think it's going to wind up going to Cincinnati.
All right. Well, hey, both of us got the same exact thing. I really want CMC to get his ring, but honestly, San Francisco does not know how to use him yet. Once they figure out how to use CMC, then I think they're unstoppable. If they can figure that out by the Super Bowl, no one's going to beat them. But right now, they do not know how to use Christian McCaffrey. It frustrates me every game watching him because they just don't know how to use him yet. But eventually, they'll get there.
He's been there long enough. You'd think they would have figured it out.
I know, but they haven't. And I know he's producing and he's having a good season and everything. And you'd say, what are you talking about? Trust me, CMC can do a lot more.
And what gets stranger in that situation, it's not like he was there before Brock Purdy became the quarterback.
Right.
So, like, I understand, hey, there's a quarterback change and, 2 weeks into you being there and things like that. All right, great. I get that. But in this case, it's been consistent.
Yeah, 100%. And if they can figure out how to use him the right way, which has nothing to do with quarterback change, it's all coaching. If they can figure out how to utilize CMC and all of his talents, because they're utilizing one right now, then they could easily end up winning that game. But I don't think they figure it out in time, so I got the Bengals as well. So both of us got the Bengals versus 49ers, and the Bengals coming out on top. We will see what happens, but we'll definitely next week at least know who's in the Super Bowl. So, but we're looking at some amazingly interesting weekends coming up in the hobby with football. I mean, these games are gonna cause some big swings and could cement some quarterbacks, as the future, at least in the hobby, leading into next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Scott, I think that's probably a pretty good time to wrap up this week's show. What do you think?
I think so. We will be back next week. Obviously, we will know what happens with the respective championship games. So we may have to re-predict the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking by my original predictions, though.
No, yes, 100%. I'm definitely sticking by my original prediction. Hopefully, we don't have to change it, but
yeah.
But if so, then we'll definitely at least check out and see what we could do. But yes, guys, we will be back next week. But before we go, I'd like to thank our awesome sponsors: Show Your Slabs, Slab Strong, Card Ladder, Denver Card Shows, and Vanity Slabs. Thank you guys so much for everything. And of course, make sure to check out new episode of Let Her Rip out Wednesday evening. Make sure to check out that episode. Also, Hobby Hotline every Tuesday night and Saturday morning. Saturday mornings on Bench Clear Media, Tuesday nights on the Hobby Hotline, YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. So make sure to check those out. And of course, we will be back here next week, and we've got a lot of really cool stuff coming up, guys. So make sure to stay tuned. Check out the socials. We're going to be putting up a lot more social media content and some one-off stuff for you here in the future. So definitely stay tuned. But till next week, you guys know the deal. Keep ripping those packs, pulling those hits. Talk to you then. Peace.